Hello everyone, welcome back to JTest class one more time. Today we're going to be talking about Cisco one more time. Today we're going to configure a Cisco router. So the objectives for today: connect the devices from previous video to a router. So if you go to the to this playlist, you will see there is 3 videos. There is one that is an introduction to Cisco packet tracer, and then there is a video that I did yesterday that is an introduction or basic configuration on a Cisco switch. So we did a setup on that video. We are kind of going to add a router to that setup, and then we're gonna configure some stuff on the router. We're gonna do a switch basic configuration on the router. So we're gonna use pretty much the same commands that we use for a basic switch configuration on a router, except for the VLAN and the telnet, because this time we're gonna use something else for remote management. We're gonna assign an IP address to the interface in the local area network. This interface is the one that will connect the switch and the 2 computers together. Then we're gonna do a configuration for what it was telnet or remote management, but this time we're gonna do a secure remote connection or remote management connection with SSH. And the SSH that we're gonna do today, it applies for Cisco routers and Cisco switches. So there will be the same commands that you use on the router to configure SSH to what they will be the same that you configure on a switch to have it with SSH instead of telnet. And we're gonna configure a default gateway on a switch when we are done. And we didn't do this on the previous video because we didn't have a router, so it was kind of pointless to do that at that point. So let's go to packet tracer, and this is the setup that we had before. So I'm kind of going to put her here. We're gonna put a call here. I'm gonna say fill, sorry. I'm gonna delete these. I'm gonna fill. Okay, so this was a setup that we had before. So we had 2 computers and we have a switch, and then we configure the switch to have a VLAN. We assign a IP to that VLAN so we can connect remotely to it. We configured some passwords and we changed the name. So what we're gonna do today is we are gonna go to network devices, router, and we're gonna select generic. I'm gonna put it here, and we're gonna name it differently. So I'm gonna put a different name here. I'm gonna name it RT1 or router 1. Put it here. So now, how do you connect a router to a switch? Well, it's pretty basic. You go to cables or connections, and it's a straight through cable. We're gonna connect it to the fast Ethernet 00 to the fast Ethernet 024, for example. I use the last one because then I know which one is which. So as you can notice, there is green points here and there is red points here. What does this mean? Well, the green points mean that the connection is good and there is connectivity between the devices, while the red dots or red points here indicates that there is no connectivity between the 2 devices. To get connectivity, we'll have to assign an IP address to that interface on the router, and we're gonna do that on this video. So we're gonna go through that. I'm just gonna move the router here so we can see the name, because it is inside our network. So there is 2 ways to access the router. It's the same to access the switch on packet tracer. You can click it and go to CLA or command line interface, or you can select a cable or console cable here and connect from the PC to the console port on the router. This is the method you will use on real equipment, so I would recommend to use that one on Cisco packet tracer if you are not familiar, or if you think you forget, you will forget how to do this on a real equipment. So to do that, you just go to PC and you just go to desktop and terminal, and we click OK, and then we are connected to the router. If you notice, there is a first thing that we have here on the router is it's a question. It says continue with configuration dialog, and we will say no. We want to configure ourselves. We don't want the stupid system to configure it for us. So it says press return to get started. I'm gonna press return, and then we're gonna do the basic configuration on a switch on this router. So it will be the name, the banner, the password for line cons 0, the secret password for the privileged sec mode, and we're gonna encrypt the password for all the lines that we have password. So when you do show, run, and config, those passwords won't be shown in plain text. So I have all the commands here. So I'm kind of gonna change the name, host name here to RT1, and just gonna copy all these. Then I'm gonna go to the router and kind of gonna paste them all. And as you can see, my router is already configured. So if I hit exit here, I say show run, well, there is my host name RT1, this is my enable secret, and those are the interfaces on the router. We haven't configured any of those yet. So we have the banner, and we have the line con 0 with the password encrypted, and then we have the lines BTY 0 to 4 with logging only, because we haven't configured any of these. Okay, so we have done then we did this. So this is done. We added the router to the network, and now we already did this. So we did the switch basic configuration. It will be the host name, the password for privileged sec mode, the password for user sec mode. If you want to know more about what I'm talking about right now, you can go to www.jtechclass.com and go to tutorials, and then Cisco, and then you will see there one that is called Introduction to Basic Configuration on a Cisco Switch. Okay, now we have to do the assign of the IP address to the interface to the local area network. We're gonna go again to Packet Tracer. I'm gonna open the router here. So the sweet thing about Packet Tracer is, like I showed in the last video, if you go over the line and you just put your pointer here, it will show you what interface you are connected or the cable is connected to. So on the router we're using interface fast Ethernet 00. So we're gonna go to the router here, and you're gonna say conft or configure terminal. We're gonna say interface. We haven't seen, oh yeah, we saw this command. So we're gonna say interface. Now instead of say VLAN 1 like we did on the router, we're gonna say fast Ethernet 00. And then we are on the interface command line or interface mode. So now here we're gonna do the same we did on the switch. We're gonna assign an IP, so IP address, and because we were using 192.1.0 network, so you can see here we did assign 5 to this host, we assigned 10 to this host, and we assigned 2 to the switch. So we're gonna assign the first usable host to the router. That will be the one. And then we have to specify the network mask 55.255.255.0. So this is pretty much the same we did on VLAN 1. The only difference is we say interface fast Ethernet 00 instead of VLAN 1. And we're gonna hit enter. And because we are not doing any IPv6 yet, we are not going to do IPv6 right now. So the next thing we have to do is we're going to create a description, and description is just that, it's a description, and we're going to specify on the description that there is a link to the local area network. Okay, it is a link to the local area network, and there will be all these. So from this port to all of these, that will be the local area network. We're gonna hit enter, and then we're gonna say not shut down, so the interface will change its state to up. So now if we look here, we can see a green dot on the router, and we can see an orange dot on the switch. What this means is that the interface on the router is active, is good configured, and the interface on the switch is just getting configured, or is just thinking and analyzing the connectivity. So if we go fast forward time here, oh, we don't have to. As we can see, it already is connected, everything is working good. We can see the green dot here. So now all we have to do left is do SSH. For SSH, we have to do a couple things. So the first one is we are gonna exit from the interface, and then we're gonna type on the global configuration mode. So you can see RT1, that's the name of the device, config, and then the sharp sign. So now we have to say IP domain name. And what this command does, it will create a domain. You don't have to have a real domain. It can be any name you want, like littledog.com, littledog.dog, littlecat.cute. I don't know, whatever you think you like, you can put as a domain. And it just assign a domain name for the users that will be created local. You need this command to get SSH because it is imprescindible for. So we're gonna say IP domain name, and in this case we're gonna use cisco.com, but as I say, you can use this little cat.cute. Okay, so after that we need to generate an encryption key. So to do so, we're gonna use the help right here. We're gonna come here, there's a command that says crypto, and it is encryption module. So we're gonna try to use that because it's the only one that says something about encryption here. So we're gonna use crypto, and then we're gonna use the help again, and then we see that any one of the parameters or the next commands you can use with crypto will be key. So we're gonna say crypto key, and then we're gonna use the help again, and then there is a generate or a zero size. What zero size does is it removes the keys, so whatever key you have created, it will be removed, and generate, it will create a new key. So we're gonna say generate because we want to create a new key, and this key is the one that will be that would allow the users to unencrypt or decrypt, whatever you want to call it, the connectivity when you are trying to access to the switch through SSH. So crypto key generate, then we're gonna use hop again, and then there is RSA. These are, I don't know the meaning of RSA, but it's one kind of key or encrypted key that Cisco uses. Is the only one that it uses, so we're gonna use that one, RSA, and then we're just gonna hit enter. So now it will ask you choose the size of the key modules in the range of 360 to 248 for your general purpose key. Choosing a key modules greater than 512 may take a few minutes. It is a lie, it won't take a few minutes. So we are going to specify 1024, and what it does is the complexity of the encryption on the key. 1024 is more than enough to encrypt something. So it will generate the key for us, and now all we have to do left is to create a username. So we're gonna say username, and you can do any username you want, and in this case I'm gonna use admin. And then sometimes you will need to specify a privilege command. This privilege, what it means is the amount of rights that the user have when connecting remotely to the router or the switch. 15 will be the maximum. If you say privilege 15, when the user logs from SSH, from a remote computer to the switch or the router, and it types the password, the username and the password, it will go right to the privilege exec mode. So that is what privilege 15 means. The minimum is 1, and that will be like user, like a really user that doesn't have any privilege at all. So privilege 15, and then there is two kind of commands we can use here. We can use password or we can use secret. This is the same as enable secret or enable password. Password will be plain text password, really easy to decrypt or to find, while secret will have a level of encryption. So we're gonna use secret, and then we just have to specify any password we want. So in this case we're gonna use class with a class. So we're gonna use class. So we're gonna hit enter, and that's pretty much it. So this is the same commands we're gonna use to connect to a switch through SSH. So now all we have left to do is configure the BTY lines. So we're gonna say line BTY 0215, and then there is a change between telnet and SSH. Now we're gonna say transport input to SSH. So before we just say password, we put a password and we say login. So now we're gonna say transport the input from SSH to these lines. Oops, SSH. So we'll say transport any input to SSH. So if I try to connect telnet, no, this is SSH, you have to connect through SSH. Then we're gonna say login, because we want to specify that the user have to log in. We're gonna specify local because the username and the password that we have will be local on the router. So you have to put the password and the username and the password that we just created. Okay, we're gonna use log sync as we used it before, and what it does is prevent your code or whatever you're typing to be interrupted every time notification comes up. And then we're gonna hit exit, and that will be pretty much it. So we close this here now, and if we remove the console cable, now we have to go to So now we have to go to the PCs and the IP configuration, and we have to specify the default gateway. So that will be 192.168.1.1. PC2 will be the same, 92.168.1.1. So default gateway, it will be used like if we connect on one network here, it will know where to go to get to the other network. So now we're gonna go to command prompt, and we're gonna use SSH. Actually, let's try telnet. I'm gonna try to telnet to 192.168.1.1. And how can you see? Because we specified that the connection has to be SSH, it won't connect through telnet. So we're gonna try SSH. So to try SSH on packet tracer, you have to write SSH -L, and then actually I'm gonna use the help here. Okay, so we have to do SSH -L, and the user that we did that was admin, and then we have to specify the IP of the device that we want to connect. This is the IP of the router, or that interface on the router. So it is open. So it asks for the password, and we use a class. And as we can see here, there is the authorized access only, or the banner, and then it went right to privilege exec mode because we assign a level 15 privilege for the user. So we're gonna close this, and as you can see, that's pretty much the basic configurations. There is one more that is saving the running config. I'm gonna save the running config here. So we're gonna say copy run to start. Okay, so copy run to start on privilege exec mode. It will save the running configuration to the startup configuration file. So as I was saying, yep, that's pretty much it. So if you want to implement SSH on a switch, will be the same as we did with the router. Don't forget, all these commands will be explained on my blog at www.jtestclass.com. Also, I was saying that we can save our configuration files or running configuration file to a TFTP server, and we're gonna try that on another video. So next video will be about that. So sorry for these long videos. I know they're really long and tedious, but I kind of want to explain everything good and that you can understand, and it takes time. Okay, so thanks again for watching. Give us a like, give us a share, leave us comments if you don't like the videos, or if you think something is different, leave us a comment here. See you next